For the past 10 years, I have not bought any new clothes. How is that possible? Well, let me explain.
It's been a decade since I last bought clothes. I'm down to my last pair of jeans, which has holes in embarrassing places. My shirts have widened to be big enough to fit two people. And I haven't seen or worn any socks for 2 years.
To be honest, I don't really understand why people go to stores anymore to buy new clothes, because one of my favorite activities is going to thrift stores, hunting for wearable treasures. If you go to a normal store, you'll find a shirt in every size and in many different colors, but where's the fun in that? I find it a lot more fun and enjoyable to go to a thrift store and find the perfect shirt, even though most of the clothes there would make me look like I was wearing my dad's clothes from the 70s. Well, I'm just joking. Most of the clothes I find at thrift stores, online marketplaces and flea markets are perfectly fine. They're usually good quality, barely used and even fashionable sometimes. Not that I know anything about fashion. It takes some hunting skill and some visits to different locations, but for the past 10 years my wardrobe has been absolutely overflowing with clothing, and I've many times had to give away clothes because I just didn't have any space for more. So what about fancy hiking gear? You know, like those jackets that cost like $500 new? Well, I wouldn't find those in a thrift store, right? Well, what I do is I just go online and go to an online marketplace like Craigslist in the United States, and I find someone who's selling the same jacket barely used for $100. And then I hope they actually send it to me and I didn't just get scammed. But to be honest, I've bought hundreds of used items online and I've not been scammed once so far, so I think it's pretty safe. Then the jacket arrives, and it turns out it's tailored for females. This happened to me actually 3 times, and I'm sure the seller would take it back if I asked them to, but luckily my girlfriend could use the jacket, so it saved her from finding it herself. So it turned out to be a win-win situation anyway. Now the big question you would undoubtedly ask me right now is, what about underwear? You can't be buying and using used underwear, right? So yes, underwear is where I draw the line. I don't buy used underwear. Not that I have a choice, because thrift stores don't usually sell any used underwear, and I'm definitely not going to buy it from those people that do sell it. It's a strange dog. So I've had to buy new underwear several times the past years. But what I do is I try to buy underwear made out of sustainable materials like bamboo. Talking about sustainability, one of the biggest benefits of not buying any new clothes is that it saves a lot of resources. Because producing new clothing is extremely resource intensive. For example, cotton takes a lot of water, a lot of land and a lot of general resources to produce. And it also takes space that could have been used for growing food. So by buying all my clothes used, I am sure that no extra resources were spent for producing them because they are already made. Something else I have, which might not surprise you if you've come this far, is clothing that is more than 10 years old. How is this possible? Well, 1, I don't use a dryer, which wears down clothing much faster. And I also only wear it when I'm alone at home. So some of these clothes are still decent looking, but most of them are definitely not. And I use them, for example, when I'm just hanging out alone, or if I'm going to paint something, or if I'm doing dirty work. Sometimes I even venture out into the wide world of judging new clothes wearing people. And so far I've always made it back home alive. When my clothes get rips or holes, I always try to fix them if possible. And of course it ends up being a lot of clothes that need fixing. So in conclusion, I think right now it's really not necessary to buy any clothing new, because there's just a huge abundance of good quality used clothing out there. It's a win-win for everybody, because for me I save a lot of money and I have a large selection of different clothing. It's a win for the environment because no new resources are spent producing clothing, and it's a win for the person selling the clothes because they make some money selling their used clothing. So if you're not used to using used clothing, I really recommend giving it a try. Just go to a thrift store, see what you find there, and see if you like it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.